There has been 4 more NHL trades since I uploaded earlier today. I figured it would be smartest to make a video talking about those trades now, so that way there isn't as many trades built up that I'll have to go over in my trade deadline review tomorrow night. Of the 4 trades we're going to talk about in this video, I would definitely consider one of them to be a big trade, so we'll save that for last and we'll get the 3 smaller deals out of the way first. The first trade we'll go over is actually a Red Wings trade. Detroit traded defenseman Troy Stecher to the Los Angeles Kings in exchange for a 2022 7th round pick, so it doesn't really get much smaller than this. Obviously, with me being a Red Wings fan, I've watched a good bit of Troy Stecher over the past season and a half, and I've always been a fan of his game. I think when healthy, he is a very solid bottom pairing defenseman. He got off to a really good start in Detroit at the beginning of last season. Him and Mark Stahl played pretty well together on the Red Wings bottom pair. Unfortunately, dealt with some injuries, and then he wasn't really ever able to get that consistency back in his game in Detroit. I really like this pickup for the Kings, honestly, especially considering they only gave up a 7th round pick. I mean, they basically got him for free. That is as close to future considerations as you can get, especially with Drew Doughty set to miss some time. It makes a lot of sense as to why the LA Kings are going out and adding a little bit of depth to their right side. There's really no risk involved whatsoever in this trade for the Los Angeles Kings. I think they get a really good deal here. Now, moving on to the next trade, this one for me is the definition of a head scratcher. I don't really know what the Ottawa Senators are doing here, but the trade is the Ottawa Senators acquire defenseman Travis Hamonic from the Vancouver Canucks, no salary retention at all, in exchange for a 2022 3rd round pick. That is right, the Ottawa Senators have given up a future asset and added at this year's trade deadline. Now, Travis Hamonic is still under contract for next season at a cap hit of $3 million. Still, I really don't understand this. Travis Hamonic isn't that great anymore. He hasn't played a ton of games when you combine last season with this season. One thing I seen somebody bring up on Twitter after this trade happened, and I thought it was a really good point, Philippe Myers was on waivers yesterday. Nashville placed him on waivers. He's 25 years old. He's definitely not anything special, but he's 6 years younger than Hamonic. He's cheaper than Travis Hamonic, and is probably just about as good or as bad, however you want to word it, as Travis Hamonic. Why wouldn't Ottawa just get him for free instead of giving up a 3rd for Hamonic? Really confused by this deal from Ottawa's side, but for Vancouver, I think this is fantastic. They freed up cap space by making this trade, gained a future asset, which they then use to make another trade, which we'll talk about now. The Vancouver Canucks acquired defenseman Travis Dermott from the Toronto Maple Leafs in exchange for a 2022 3rd round pick. So the Vancouver Canucks basically turned Travis Hamonic into Travis Dermott, who I would say is probably a little bit better than Hamonic. Obviously, they play different roles, but I think Dermott brings a lot more to the table than Hamonic does at this point in his career, and also Travis Dermott is much younger and cheaper than Travis Hamonic. So in my eyes, the Vancouver Canucks front office definitely had a pretty good day. I'm really interested to see if they do anything else tomorrow. Moving on now to the big trade of the 4 we'll talk about in this video. Mark Giordano acquired by the Toronto Maple Leafs from the Seattle Kraken, along with Colin Blackwell, in exchange for 2nd round picks in 2022 and 23 and a 2023 3rd round pick. And it goes without saying, but Seattle did have to retain 50% of Mark Giordano's cap hit. So Kyle Dubas got his wish here. He was able to improve his team in a couple of different areas, get a couple of rentals, and not give up a 1st round pick. Elliot Friedman was hammering this home over the past couple of weeks. Kyle Dubas did not want to give up a 1st unless it was going to be for a player who had term left on their deal. And in this case, Giordano and Blackwell are both likely rentals, as they are both set to become UFAs at the end of the season. But these are 2 really big additions for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I feel like Colin Blackwell may be a piece in this deal that gets overlooked, but I think he's going to be a big help for the Leafs as well. Over the past 3 seasons, Blackwell has been a very solid middle 6 defensive forward who can chip in a little bit of offense here and there. He had 12 goals for the Rangers last season in 47 games. Only makes $725K this season. Definitely fantastic value there, but obviously the big piece and the piece everyone's talking about is defenseman Mark Giordano. It wasn't a secret that Mark Giordano was really only willing to waive his no-trade clause for a deal to the Toronto Maple Leafs to play for his hometown team, to go and play with TJ Brodie, who he played so many years with in Calgary, was basically stapled on a pairing with TJ Brodie in the year he won the Norris Trophy a couple of years back. And obviously Mark Giordano isn't that defenseman anymore that won the Norris Trophy a couple of years ago, but he's still more than capable of playing top 4 minutes and putting up very solid 2-way results. His defensive numbers have been really good this season on a Seattle team that hasn't been very good, and you'd imagine that now with him, going to be passing the the puck up the ice to the likes of Marner or Matthews that he'll probably pick up a couple more points than he had in Seattle as well. This is a very massive addition for the Maple Leafs, obviously in an area of need as well, especially with Jake Muzzin out. But when Muzzin comes back, hopefully for the postseason, and Toronto has their blue line at full strength, this should be the best defense that Toronto has had, since they've had the core of Matthews, Marner, Nylander, and Tavares. I really like this trade for the Maple Leafs. I love the fact that they were able to get Blackwell on top of Giordano. Like I said, I feel like he's going to kind of be an underrated piece of this trade. And for Seattle, it was reported on that they really wanted the first round pick in exchange for Mark Giordano. They weren't able to get that here. They weren't going to get that out of Kyle Dubas, but still getting 2 second-round picks and a third-round pick for 2 pending UFAs, obviously on a team that's in the basement of the league. I mean, sounds like a no-brainer, right? Especially when you consider Giordano's age and where he's at in his career. So I honestly think this is a pretty fair trade for both sides. And I said this in the video earlier today talking about, the Giroux and Lindholm trades. The pressure was kind of on Kyle Dubas to do something because of Tampa Bay and them adding Brandon Hagel, Florida adding Giroux and Sherratt, obviously Boston getting Hampus Lindholm, and now Kyle Dubas has made his move. The Atlantic Division was already scary, but now it's just looking even scarier. But that is pretty much going to wrap up today's video. Those are my thoughts on the trades that took place today. Of course, I'm always interested to hear your guys' thoughts on the deals as well, so be sure to get down there in the comment section down below. Let me know your thoughts, and while you're down there, if you could drop a like on the video, that is definitely the best way to show your support. I'd really appreciate it. And if this was your first time checking out the channel and you want more NHL content just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll talk to you all soon.